happy Thomas Frank appointment anniversary. Welcome to the Crowing Cockerel Podcast. This is the review of the longest year in Spurs' history.
Well done, chaps. We have survived. I'm not entirely sure how, and that was a long season. I can't believe as well, 1 year since we appointed Frank.
A lot can happen in a year, can't it? we certainly packed it in this year.
he guaranteed we'd lose games. Fair play. First we said, guarantee we're going to lose games. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got to sort of under-promise, over-deliver. And he smashed it out of the park.
Yes. Yeah, he certainly did. He certainly did. But yeah. So this is the end of season review pod. It's going to be our last pod of the season. Then we're going to take a well-earned break to recuperate, and we'll be back somewhere at the end of sort of July. We'll be back in pre-season sometime, unless something magnificent happens in the meantime. Then we'll pop on and
there's
chat about that.
A petition put into Parliament with over 100,000 requests to have us back.
Yeah. If 100,000 people say we want an episode, then we might oblige.
We might.
A short one.
But yeah.
No, we're busy.
So we'll be back end of July. So we've got some admin to square off, haven't we? We've got the final two matches of the Predictions League, and it was getting a little bit squeaky bum for Thom at the top of the table.
It was.
We've got two games to catch up on. So let's get that done. We've got Chelsea away, Everton at home. As a reminder, Thom was 4 points clear of me before we had these two games. Chelsea away, I said that we would draw, but I did say Richarlison would score, so I get a point there. Graham correctly predicted we would lose, but he said 1-0. Unfortunately, for all the tension out there, Thom correctly predicted the score as well as saying we were going to lose 2-1. He didn't get the goal scorer right, though, but he gets 2 points. That puts him 5 points clear, and I'm afraid that is an unassailable lead. The last game of the season, I wish it was completely irrelevant in real life, but it is irrelevant in the Predictor League. But anyway, he said 2-2, Graham said 1-1. I said we would win 4-2, so I get the last point of the season, but it makes no difference. Graham finishes on 26. I have 37. Thom is victorious, 41 points. Congratulations, Thomas.
Thank you. My forever skepticism has finally paid off in one arena or another. Yeah, it is the most depressing game to win when I quite early on decided that we were going to be pats for most of the season. So, yeah, thank you, but not again.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking a moral victory for being most closely aligned with Spurs this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well done. You should do.
Yeah.
I don't know how morally
I've
aligned
been
you're going to
nearly as bad. Yeah. So that's good.
I don't know how morally aligned you're going to be with our last piece of Crowing Cockerel admin for the season, and that's of course the final Thom's teaser.
Play that final jingle.
Thom's teaser.
Right, chaps. Due to some rather peculiar scoring towards the end of the season, Graham has somehow clawed it back to 15 points, while Mark is ahead on 19. But for the final Thom's teaser, I'm going to try and award you a point for every question you get right. So this could seriously change things around in the final reckoning. And what I'd like to do is take you all the way back to the start of the season. Do you remember those halcyon days? Those halcyon days where we had joy in our hearts and hope in our eyes. And I went back and I listened to our predictions for the season.
Dear.
And your Thom's teaser this week is to tell me if you can remember what the other person said for their predictions. So,
also proving that we don't listen to our own pod.
As a reminder, if anybody wants to go back and listen to the pod, this is the one we recorded on the 21st of August, 2025. Okay, so I'm going to start, Graham, with you. The first category we're going to have is Player of the Season. So, Graham, who did you think that Mark said would be Player of the Season?
Well, I know that Mark has a man crush on Mickey van der Ven. And I just think that he would have gone straight in for that. So Mickey van der Ven.
I can tell you that is correct. Well done. Now, I will say that he also said, or someone we haven't bought yet. Just put out your misery, Mark.
No.
It wasn't anybody we hadn't bought yet.
Kolo Muani might have come close. but yeah, you had to be specific.
Mark, your turn. Who did Graham think would be our player of the season?
That is interesting because I can't choose Graham's man crush because he was already injured at that point. Floppy-haired Maddison himself.
And you see, I didn't have a crush the early season because he hadn't.
His
had
hair
the
was
time.
short.
Yeah.
You see, so it developed. Well, it just hit me square in the face when he was taking a corner against Chelsea.
All right.
All right.
So, yeah, this is a tricky one. I mean, obviously, Bergvall swept the awards last season, didn't he? So I wonder whether he went with Bergvall again. I'm trying to think of anybody else that he could have gone with, to be honest. I'm gonna go Bergvall.
That would be incorrect.
Does
Graham, can you
Graham know
remember?
who he
Yeah,
chose?
I think I would have gone for somebody like had Kudus signed. I think I went for Kudus.
You did not. You went for Romero. You both
Did
went
I?
for the centre backs. You
That's
did.
going to feed interestingly into some comments later.
Isn't it just? Right, your next category, Graham, you again. And we're looking for Mark's breakthrough player of the season. Who was going to be the star of our season?
I think I know who I said. Yeah, I think I know who I said here.
I think you might have said, and I'm assuming it had been done by then, that you went with Tell.
Mark, do you know who you said?
I think I said Sarr because he had a brilliant pre-season.
He had a brilliant pre-season, and you actually said Sarr. It was Pape Sarr.
Yeah.
So no points there, Graham. Mark, who was Graham's breakthrough player of the season?
I mean, is Archie Gray too obvious? I can't think of anyone else it could be, really. Let's go Archie Gray.
Archie Gray's your answer, Graham. Can you remember? Was it Archie Gray?
No idea.
Oh, no, you can't remember. You said Vuskovic.
Vuskovic.
Well, to be fair, he's probably the best player this season, wasn't he?
yeah.
Yeah. And I picked the other best player of Spurs season, who was Luca Williams-Barnett. So, yeah. So we're all wrong there. Well done, everybody. Okay, we're on to top scorer. Let's start with Mark this time. Who did Graham think would be our top scorer this season?
Well, I'm assuming he would have said Solanke like any other sane person.
And you'd be right. Solanke is who Graham chose. So, Graham, who did Mark choose for his top scorer?
Right. So basically, you're asking me, do I think Mark is a sane person?
I think Mark's asking you that.
And I'm thinking, well, I don't think he would have said Solanke. I think he would have said Richarlison.
I surely would have been crazy to say Richarlison.
I think both of you are way off the mark. Mark, who did you say? Do you remember?
No idea. Well, I would hope I would have said Solanke.
You did not. You said, as did I, Brennan Johnson.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
Brennan.
because we were quite keen that he'd be playing as a...
We love Brennan.
There we go. So no points, ole. Okay, so next category. Graham, you can start this one, and we're going for flop of the season. Who did Mark say was his flop of the season?
Gosh, flop of the season. I think he would have gone... It must have been someone we bought. I'm going to go Kudos.
I think I know.
Incorrect. Go on, Mark. Who do you think it is?
Because I think I would have picked Vicario.
I think you would have put Vicario, and you did pick Vicario.
Yeah.
And not only did you pick Vicario, but by some odd premonition, you also said that you'd think that Kinski would finish our season as the number one.
Did I?
You absolutely did.
Just
So well
I'm
done.
Just such a genius. You don't realise it on the Crowing Cockerel podcast, but every now and again, just a little nugget of gold appears on the surface.
Absolutely. And that genius earned you 0 points. So here's your question. Who did Graham pick for his flop of the season?
Well, I wonder. I know he's always had a little bit of a thing about Porro. So let's go Porro.
Porro is correct.
Oh, So
now Mark goes into a 2-1 lead. Interesting.
wow, it's not looking good, Graham, unless we've got a 10-point final question.
Just to say, I went for Tell or Odebear because I thought neither of them could fill the whole Son left. And I don't think they were flops necessarily, but obviously injury and form.
I mean, what's interesting is flop of the season. That's quite a long list, isn't it? I don't think we were going to have to go through the whole squad.
No, but I still. But are we all agreed it is still probably Kolo Muani?
Oh, 100%.
Good. Okay, moving on. Okay, our one hope for the season. Mark, what do you think Graham's one hope for the season was? This is a bit vague. You might have to think of more generalised things here, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether he said it or I said it, or you said it, but I seem to remember us, and it might not have even been in this episode, but at some point at the start of the season, I seem to remember us having a conversation about beating the big teams away from home. I mean, what hopes?
Okay, is that your answer?
Yeah, something about beating big teams away from home finally.
For his one hope, it was not that. It was that we win again. FA Cup or League Cup, something. He just wanted us to win again to keep that habit.
Oh, I thought you meant a game.
That was the one hope he had. Graham, what was Mark's one hope?
That's a good question. As all your questions in this series of Tom's teasers have been,
I'll get away.
Struggling to think past, but I don't think we were overly optimistic, were we? I don't know. I don't think it is, but finish above Arsenal. I don't think it was.
Correct. You don't get that. It was just be entertaining. He just wanted to be entertained.
Just wanted to have fun. Yeah.
So both of those worked out superbly.
I said something similar. I just didn't want it to be dull because of what we got from Ange. Dull, no, but painful and excruciating.
Yeah, I mean, if the only way of not being dull is to basically try and kill you, then.
And even though it doesn't seem to matter now, we have our last question in this round, which is our one expectation of the season. Mark, what do you think Graham's one expectation of the season was?
Expectation, I would say. Would it be to qualify for the Champions League playoffs?
It would not. It would be to win at least one game away at a big club.
Oh, no.
Which was your answer to the previous question.
I knew we had talked about that.
Yeah. Okay, Graham, what was Mark's expectation of the season? And this is definitely something we gave some time to chat about.
I just really can't remember, and I can't think at all what he would have said for a hope.
What we're discovering is that Graham doesn't listen to the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so long ago, doesn't it? And I just remember us having a little bit of optimism going into the season. So it could have been something dramatic, like winning 6 on the trot. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you that isn't the answer. You'd be surprised. It's not the answer, and it wasn't even that positive. It was based on actually some fair to middling assessment of where we actually are, which was, can we please stop dropping points against lower teams?
Oh dear.
So no then.
Nope.
So what? All we wanted from those predictions then is a bit of fun every now and again, some wins, and not to get beaten at home by the really bad teams. None of which we managed.
Absolutely not.
Good.
No.
Cool. I'm glad we're all on the same page.
But what we have managed is to complete the final Tom's teaser of the season. Just so you know, my expectation for this season was that Romero will get sent off in the first 5 games. So I think I was probably closest in that respect. But I can't play because you guys are playing. You guys have played. Thank you for your commitment this season. But it does mean that the final Tom's teaser scores, with 1 point to Graham and 2 to Mark in this game, is Graham 16, Mark 21, this year's winner of the inaugural Tom's Teaser.
Tom's Teaser.
Yay me. No,
well done,
thank
Mark.
you for all your quiz mastering, Tom. It's been good, and I know it's a rampant success with our fans. It's the highlight of every week.
We
So,
might have on that. We might have a little special Tom's teaser event occurring in the not too distant future. So definitely something to look forward to in the next month or so.
right. So let's have a little end of season review.
Why not?
Shall we? Let's have a review. So it's not been the best of seasons, has it? And I don't think it met many of our expectations or hopes and dreams. And there have been some absolutely shocking things the club has done or has happened beneath the badge of the Crowing Cockerel. So what I think we should go through is what we think are the 5 worst decisions that the club or people associated with the club have made over the last season.
All right.
So let's start at the beginning. So a year ago today, we're recording on Wednesday the 10th. So this is the anniversary of Thomas Frank coming into the club. Now, obviously, Thomas didn't complete the season. We then ended up with Igor Tudor for a very short stint, and thankfully, De Zerbi came in and saved us.
So what's your is the bad decision there?
Well,
Just
I mean,
managerial
that's
merry-go-round?
probably the structure of the season, isn't it? So are we putting Thomas Frank, his appointment, as one of the worst decisions of the seasons?
Yeah, I think straight away. I've got no issue with saying that. You can say things in hindsight, in retrospect, but that's how time works. So looking back, I think we weren't to know that the fit was to be such a poor one. But from very early on, within sort of the first 5 games, you started to see the quality and the engagement from these players drift. And yeah, I think as much as the appointment of Frank can be put down as one of the worst decisions of the season, I think as well, sort of coupled with that, the delay in getting rid of him as well was I would group that with it.
Was the appointment of Thomas Frank worse than the decision to appoint Igor Tudor?
See, I don't think there's a couple of things I'd like to say about just in response to Tom. I don't think the decision to appoint Thomas Frank was a bad decision. Because I don't recall there being too many people at the time saying that it was a bad decision.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
A bad outcome, yes. But I would like to go back 2 or 3 weeks before that and talk about the sacking of Ange.
Yeah.
Because I remember, when, and I think that was probably our first episode, wasn't it? Was after he'd just been sacked. And I distinctly remember us talking, and we had real mixed feelings about what we thought about that decision. Obviously, we'd finished 17th. The football had been very mixed at best, but we had just won the Europa League. And I remember saying, I don't know whether it was a good decision or not, but I think my overriding emotion at the end of it, once we discussed it, was I think I would rather him have stayed and find out what happened for that 3rd season. So to me, I like if we're talking about the top worst decisions of the season, I wouldn't say the appointment of Thomas Frank is that. I would say potentially the sacking of Ange is, kind of upset me more than the appointment of Thomas Frank. And then, as you said, Tom, I think for me, actually, if we're going to talk about Thomas Frank, it was the non-decision in terms of delaying getting rid of him, especially after that West Ham game. For me, I cannot understand how he stayed after that West Ham game.
I'm going to go with Mark here because I think worse than appointing Thomas Frank was the sticking with Thomas Frank. He lasted 2-3 months longer than he should have done. I think it was quite clear once we'd been booed off the pitch against Chelsea, we weren't putting any fight into games, we weren't having any shots, we weren't creating anything. And the fact that the opportunity was there when West Ham beat us at home as a clear, this is a problem, it would have been an easy decision to make. So
And the fact is that non-decision allowed
Yes.
that toxic atmosphere to
Yes,
just cultivate
develop,
and
yeah.
grow. Like if they just acted decisively, everybody would have agreed it was the right decision. It would have been a hard reset, and then whoever came in would have had way longer to do whatever. So even if they'd appointed Tudor at that time, he would have had more time, and who knows how that would have turned out. But yeah, for me, I'm with you. The non-sacking of him after West Ham is just a terrible, terrible mistake.
I think we're all in agreement there. I know what you're saying about sort of the actual hiring of Frank in the first instance. Yeah, there wasn't like a clamour at the time saying this is a mad decision. So if we're saying look, one of the worst decisions was sacking Ange, next one was not sacking Frank when we should have done, is the third one on our list, on our top 5 of worst decisions this season, is it how passive we were in that January window?
Has to be. I had that on my list. I mean, I was a bit more specific and just said about selling Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. That whole combination of once you sell Brennan Johnson, you've got to get someone in to replace him. That isn't a
This was
left
the
back.
thing, wasn't it? I mean, it was quite dynamic. Right, bang, got an offer, out you go.
Yeah.
Bring the money in, let's go. And then nothing. Absolutely nothing apart from a Brazilian left back.
Yeah, so I've kind of combined a couple of decisions. They're probably not. Well, yeah. So it was that in combination with all of the crazy rumours, and there's always crazy rumours going around with Spurs about who we're targeting and who's been linked to the club. But for the club, then, so for me, again, the decision part of this is for the club to come out and go, yeah, we were actively trying to get Semenyo, we were in discussions and all of this sort of stuff. It's just a joke. Semenyo would never come to Spurs. So to give any sort of credence to those rumours and actually admit that we were trying to get him, to me, it just showed that we were not in touch with who we are as a football club and the level that we're at. And you're just kind of playing fans along with these crazy kind of bids that you're never, ever going to win. And it's no wonder we didn't get Eze and Gibbs White in the summer.
So does this maybe put a bit of a off the wall entry into some of the worst decisions? Is that allowing Thomas Frank to say what he wanted to in press conferences? So he started off with, I guarantee we're going to lose games. And I think it was a bit glossed over because it was like, oh, he's a bit different from Ange, he's a bit more realistic, blah, 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 blah. Then, of course, he came out with the comment of Eze, who then scored a hat-trick against us. Yeah. Almost immediately.
Yeah.
As well, was it? And then, of course...
Has he not heard of tempting fate?
Yeah. And then the fantastic, we are ambitious. We're so ambitious, we tried to sign Semenyo. I mean, the person that should be in charge of PR at Spurs must have had the worst job last year. I feel very, very sorry for them. Imagine the morning, the day after Thomas Frank was pictured with the Arsenal.
Literally just about to say.
It must have been hell. But yeah, it's. Can
I just say one thing? I think Thomas Frank was approached quite recently about, obviously there's a few Premier League jobs that have been sort of in the offing, and his name has been mentioned. And he said, no, I'm taking some time off.
Not by those Premier League jobs, I guarantee it.
Well, he's basically just saying he's still taking some time away from the game.
Hasn't had any offers.
He was very, very gracious about what happened at Spurs, about how it didn't work out, and how he really wants the club to go on and do well. He doesn't have to say that.
No, he didn't. That was an additional statement in a pretty bland statement, wasn't it? But he did say that he had good feelings about the club and all that. But he did get a massive payoff. Let's face it. So
okay, so we've got 3 on the list there. The sacking of Ange, the not sacking of Frank. Can we just say transfers?
Yeah.
The insanity of how we approach transfers. I've got another one, and it's kind of similar to the hiring Frank sort of suggestion, because at the time, perhaps we thought it was a good idea, making Romero captain.
Yes. Captain Hindsight here can look back at that and say that was a disaster.
So again, I am going to play the card of at the time.
Yes,
were
I
we
know
saying-
at the
it's
time. I
Captain-
know.
It is Captain Hindsight, but you look
But you know
back,
how angry we've been this season about
but-
what that Pillock's been up to.
yeah,
So
but look at it. I mean,
But who else? Who else was there?
well,
yeah, you're not wrong.
There was nobody. Like Maddison wasn't going to play. Ben Davies wasn't going to play because he wasn't good enough. Like there really wasn't anybody else he could have picked. That's the trouble.
and I suppose that comes back to bigger issues, doesn't it? But
Yeah, yeah.
ultimately, if you look at it, and you can say that there was no other choice, but as a first year in the job, I think his end of year review would be quite a lot of comments of, do you think that was the right way of dealing with that situation, Christian?
There's no doubt he's been an awful captain.
Yeah, and I remember this is our top 5 worst decisions since the start of the season, right? And you only really understand the outcome of a decision when it's had time to play out. The decision was to make him captain, and he's made an absolute balls up of it, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but you could have, in this ridiculous leadership group that we've all said now that just, I hope De Zerbi just completely bins off. There's your captain, there's your vice captain, blah, blah, blah. But within the leadership group, if he'd made Vicario captain, Vicario doesn't rock the boat dramatically, does he? We can criticise him, and you could rightly say that one of your good predictions, Mark, was that flop of the season would be he'd be up there, but he's not going to be causing ructions in the club within the first 6 weeks of him being made captain. He's not going to be only playing half the season because he keeps getting sent off.
He's not going to be putting tweets out every half an hour when he gets a bit disgruntled.
Me, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, and you can say that he loves the club and he's trying to build the club and he's trying to protect the club. That's absolutely fantastic, but you can't suggest for a moment it has helped the season. And nothing he has done has helped improve last season.
I know you want to make your point, Mark, but I want to say this one thing. There were moments in this season he did win us points here and there. He came up with some vital goals at vital times. The only thing I think of is that all he did was sort of just move the points that he could have won for us if he was on the pitch to games earlier in the season.
Yeah, he was just bringing his balance back towards 0 again.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. The only point I was going to make, and again, it just harks back to who else could have been made captain. You've got to remember as well that he probably had one of his best games in a Spurs shirt in his last game in that Europa Cup final as well. So it's. Yeah, but for absolute sure in terms of outcome of a decision, yeah, he's been an absolute liability this season. Absolute liability.
So what's worst decision number 5?
I mean, I think you have to talk about the appointment of Tudor. Because again, it's just carried on with my theme of, what was the general thought at the time. I don't think anybody could quite believe it. I mean, for a start, hardly anybody had ever heard of him. And you just saw this guy coming in, and the prevailing thought was, who is he? Like, what? Like, this is either genius because somebody in the Spurs hierarchy has got the lowdown on this guy, or it's absolute insanity, bearing in mind that we were in a precarious position. It wasn't as if we were mid-table and we just needed somebody just to see out the season. Like, we were, sinking fast, and you just come out with this absolute kind of wild card of a decision. And like I say, either genius or insanity. And it just proved to be the latter.
Yeah, I mean, I remember looking at the stats at the time. He was kind of seen as sort of a parachute appointment, wasn't he? There'd been 2 or 3 occasions where he'd come into clubs and very quickly got results, but they'd always sort of tailed off. But the Premier League is an immense beast where the competition is fierce from 1 to 20. It's why the bottom teams can take points off the top teams, usually us, but let's move on. So the issue was if he didn't get off to a good start, it was never going to work. And it was always going to be difficult for him to have a good start with the form, the attitude of the players, the injuries we had.
I
Not
think
appointing
that's
somebody who
clear,
knew
isn't
the
it?
league
Because
was such a massive
because
mistake.
remember, for the first few games, he had no players.
Yeah.
He didn't have any players, and I think he got the Arsenal game. I thought we were competitive in that game up until the 60th minute. We had a pretty poor decision go against us. I think in that I don't think Colin Moani did enough to make whoever the guy is that missed that penalty, what's his name,
Gabriel.
fall over like that. Yeah, so that could have gone either way. I didn't think we were terrible first half against Nottingham Forest, and then we just collapsed. But it just seemed really, really strange, and I think it fed back into the decision not to sack Frank earlier. It was such a firefight by the time he came in.
Yeah.
But under his stewardship, I wonder whether one of the attempts to get everybody on side that just absolutely blew up in our faces was the parade before the Nottingham Forest game, because that was quite a long way before the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then we got absolutely battered. And like Tom says, the validity of a decision only comes out after the result, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But doing a parade and getting battered 3-0 at home by a relegation rival isn't a great look, is it?
The one thing we can thank Igor Tudor for is that it became desperate. So it sunk so low. I think you all know my feelings about this. I still think we weren't keen on Frank. We weren't keen on Tudor. They weren't getting the results. I still think that a lot of this hangs with the players, hangs with their approach, and it got so bad. And of course, apparently they had sounded out De Zerbi when they got rid of Frank. It got so bad and desperate that the club went, okay, well now we have to get De Zerbi, and now we have to convince him, and now we have to back him. It is that desperate that the only thing we can do is try and get, let's be honest, a very highly thought of manager who, yes, was available, but I don't know how many sort of managers of that level would come and take over a team that, let's face it, was at least evens for getting relegated. So the fact that Igor Tudor came in and made such a howling mess of it was one of the reasons we got De Zerbi and we stayed up.
Is this a little bit similar? And we're very, very early into his tenure, obviously. But if you remember that Pochettino was not Levy's first choice. Yeah, Levy went after the Dutch coach that ended up at Man United, didn't he?
Van
That's
Gaal.
who yeah. So he really wanted Van Gaal and sort of ended up with Pochettino out of necessity almost, and it turned into probably the best period in the modern era. So sometimes messing things up works out by pure luck. And it's interesting, isn't it, that today the news has come out that the director of football that was at Borussia Dortmund isn't going to be coming to Spurs, and apparently it's because De Zerbi will have more of a say in what goes on, which
sounds good
is
to me.
The best reason for not
Yeah.
having a sporting director
Yeah.
that I can absolutely think of. So, okay, so on our list we've got sacking Ange, keeping Thomas Frank, not doing enough in the January transfer window, making Romero captain, and Igor Tudor.
Yeah,
So,
and they were decisions that the club made. That's not even counting all the injuries and other stuff that we had to deal with.
I still think holding an Arsenal Cup is probably
one of Frank's worst
decision.
decisions.
Yeah. I mean, there's sort of the mini games here that you could go into.
The little Easter eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But
so which one's worst? We've got our shortlist. Which one is the worst?
I think sticking with Thomas Frank.
I agree.
I think because it probably that was the factor behind a poor January window, the choice that we had around getting Igor Tudor in, and Romero clearly did not rate him at all. I mean, let's be honest. So
can I disagree with you, boys?
Yeah, of course you
Mine
can.
would be mine would be sacking Ange, because I still love the man. I think he's still one of the most genuine people in football that you're likely to find. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but the way he played, I was just really interested to see that if they could have worked out those kinks around the injuries and actually backed him. I just would have wondered. Look, I feel like we wouldn't have got relegated if Ange was given a third season.
We didn't get relegated.
Yeah.
But
I do feel like the
well, yeah.
season may have. I do feel like with Ange, there was definitely the possibility that the season could have gone down a similar route.
Yes, I think
Essentially.
it was quite likely if he'd stayed, he would have been gone by October.
Mm.
I'll be honest. I sort of think that given the league results, it was not surprising. I was absolutely with you guys. I had very, very mixed feelings. I really liked, even when we were losing games at home, I still wanted to go to the games. When we were losing games under Thomas Frank, didn't want to go anywhere near the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to be perfectly honest. So, but I don't see that as anywhere, probably in my top 3 out of the 5, because I think it was probably too obvious a decision.
Maybe.
And if we're not, if we're not going to have appointing Thomas Frank on the list, then I don't think that sacking Ange can be high up that list.
Yeah, maybe. Well, they were the 5 worst decisions then. Look, I've got some quick fire cues for you, maybe to round things off for us. And I don't know how deeply you need to think about these, but I just thought we'd blast them out. I'll ask you both. I'll give you mine. So here's the first one. What was your favourite game of the season, Graham?
Favourite game? I'm still bitter about some of the comments that went on our socials after they beat us at home and they thought they were going to stay up. So this has been factored into it. But my favourite game was beating West Ham 3-0. And the reason for that is because those 3 points kept us up and it relegated them.
Mark, your favourite game of the season?
I mean, for me, it was Aston Villa away. It was the first time in probably about 6 months that I thought we were actually capable of staying up. So yeah, it was such a relief to play the way we did and get the 3 points that night.
Right, this is dead easy for me. It was my first European away game. It was Frankfurt away with you boys, and we won. Dominic Solanke, even Colin Mawani scored. Yeah, that for me was an amazing experience and a real tick box. All right, what was your worst moment of the season? What was the real kick in the nads moment of the season? Mark?
Well, for me, it's very, very easy. It was Crystal Palace at home. I went there. It was one of those with about 10 games to go, we had highlighted 3 games that we had to win. One of them was Forest, and Palace was one of them. And even though, stupidly naively, I still believed, despite everything, that we were going to win that game. And we were just so bad, even in the midst of all the terrible performances. That was a low one, and
that was Van der Ven got sent off as well.
It was just
so
terrible. Because we took the lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, terrible game, and the fact that I was there to witness it, just absolute stinker.
Graham, worst moment?
When Callum Wilson scored in the last minute for West Ham. Yeah, I think that's where you realise that we were pretty pants as a football team at that stage. Because, again, not to beat down on a team that's just got relegated and all the other stuff going on around that club, because I don't think that's fair on their fans, really. But it's one of the clubs that you don't want to be giving bragging rights to.
Yeah.
And they were in the mix with us. They were really quite far below us points-wise, but we were getting dragged into it. And even a point probably would have meant we would never have got into a situation we did at the end of the season. And it was really, really, really toxic at the end of that game. It was horrible. And then it took 2 hours to get home because the police were shutting the stations to let West Ham fans get home. So it was not fun at all, and it rained a lot. Horrible experience. Yeah, and how Thomas Frank kept his job after that game it was such an opportunity to sack him, and everybody go, yeah, fair enough.
Well, mine relates to West Ham as well, Graham, and it relates to Mark's, because actually my worst moment of the season wasn't even when we played. And that was when West Ham went to Fulham the night before the Crystal Palace game and won. This was when West Ham's form just started to go up. And I was convinced, at that moment, I was convinced that West Ham would lose and we would find a way out. At that moment, I was like, that's it. We are going down. The teams around us are gaining points. And I had no faith beyond that point. And I was listening to that Palace game that you were at, Mark, knowing fully well what was going to happen. I had accepted at that moment, and we've been speaking about it for weeks before that. But at that moment, we were going down, and it took me until the 94th minute and that Kinski save against Everton to make me believe we were staying up. So that for me was the moment where it literally all turned. It wasn't when we were playing. So yeah, that's how bad that was. Okay, best and worst player of the season, and before we go to the best player of the season, can we all just get the worst one out of the way? We'll say it at the same time. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Kolo Muani. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Graham, who was your best player of the season?
Well, it relates back to something that you just said, actually. So I'm going to give my player of the season to Anton Kinski.
Go on.
Because for somebody to go through what he went through against Atletico Madrid and then to come back in and be so critical for getting the points to keep this club up, I think that guy, as Pochettino would have said, has massive cojones. That is some mental resilience,
strength of character, isn't it?
To get and that is absolutely what we need at this club. And I accept that he's a young goalkeeper, and a good top team needs a top goalkeeper. And if we got a top goalkeeper in, I would, have to accept that Kinski is probably still going to be a number 2 and might need to even move on. But he will forever be remembered for me for the guy that stood up in massive adversity and did as much as anyone, bearing in mind he only played the last quarter of the season to keep this club in the Premier League.
I think he deserves a crack at the jersey next year. I do. Unless we bring in a big name, I don't see there being.
Yeah, I can say unless we bring in a proper, which I don't think we would.
They're not 10 to a penny, are they?
Exactly.
No, you don't.
So
and
Mark,
he didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, your player of the season.
I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? It is a very short list of people that you could even consider. But I am going to go for, and I do wonder, Tom, whether I've gone for the same person as you, because I know you are also a fan of this guy. I'm going Kevin Danso. I think Kevin Danso has been, when I think of all the players and I think, right, who has been the most consistently good or most consistently not rubbish over the season? And there's been spells when certain players have had good spells. Archie Gray had a few games where he was doing well. Bentancur played well towards the end of the season. But I think apart from one misstep at the end of the game against Brighton, wasn't it? I honestly can't think of anything else that Kevin Danso has done wrong this season. He's been strong. He's been consistent.
It's a good shout.
Yeah, I think he's been really, really good in an awful season. So yeah, Kevin Danso for me.
Big love for Big Kev. I had thought about Kevin Danso. You're right, Mark. It was definitely on my list. But actually, the other player that you mentioned, who I've chosen, who I was a bit disappointed didn't get much game time under De Zerbi, but can't knock the choices, and that is Archie Gray. Had to fill in like a mad thing last season all over the place. Got more time in the middle of this year, and I just think he's class. I think I've seen enough.
He won all the awards, didn't he, this year? He swept the board.
I think early doors we saying the only player we think has any sort of chutzpah or drive, and I saw something different about him this season as well. He was putting himself about a bit more. There was a little bit more needed, a little bit more aggression, but controlled, not like Romero. So he really was, I think, I think he matured a bit, and to see him more playing in midfield, great. I sincerely hope he gets more game time next year. Do I think he'll be a starter? Probably not. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Archie Gray, but I just hope he gets lots of minutes.
Yeah, he's only a kid, still only a kid. We shouldn't be a club that has to start a 19, 20-year-old unless they are absolutely world class. He's hopefully got loads and loads of potential, but he's not Jude Bellingham. He just isn't at that age. So I think we need to improve our midfield massively. Basuma's gone. We've got an opportunity to bring somebody in real quality, and I think that needs to be done. But I hope Archie Gray stays and develops at the club and
100%.
becomes a top player.
100%.
Can I steal the final positive Spurs of the year?
Yeah, go on then.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
And the final positive Spurs of the year is to ask you boys your most memorable moment.
For me, it's easy. It's the final whistle at Everton. The moment where we were finally safe, where all of the stress and the anxiety that we'd all felt throughout the whole of the season just dissipated. That weight came off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And it was finally locked in that we'd be playing Premier League football again next season.
Graham, follow that.
I think I was reasonably confident we'd get a point against Everton. So it was great, the relief, whatever. But I think the Gallagher goal against Aston Villa,
Yeah.
within that game, but within the start, we were playing really well anyway before he scored that. And I just thought, we've absolutely banged one in. So that was up there. But it was either that or the Van der Ven solo goal in the Champions League.
Yes, that was a belter.
I mean, so what I'm going to say, I'm going to cheat and say the best thing about this season is the amount of ridiculously good goals we've scored.
We did score some bangers. Yeah, we did.
I mean,
He's
overhead kicks, tenner penny,
Ivan header from Romero.
Centre back solo goals from his own box, easy. Bang it in the top corner. I think memorable things would be the goals that we did score.
Yeah, there were little moments of joy there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, mine, I think, I'm just going to hark back to probably one of the things we've been saying, well, for the last few moments, and that's going back to that last minute, 94 minute, I think it was, save from Kinski in that final game, because that was the completion of the redemption arc, not just for Kinski, but for us to finally sort of, like you say, Mark, sort of blow out that last gust of air to feel like, yes, we are here, we've done it.
Yeah.
And for him to be sort of so pivotal in that final moment, I find it difficult to think of anything more memorable or more fitting to sort of round off our season. The only other sort of honourable mention I would say is that week I was feeling really, really desperate and depressed, and I didn't want to talk about it anymore. And I asked you guys who would win in a fight between a swan and a badger. But apart from that, the Kinski save.
Well, certainly, I think that would be the Crowing Cockerel memorable moment when the insanity finally took over. All right, so just to finish off then, everybody else does it, so why wouldn't we? I thought we could go through the team and decide who we want to keep and who we want to get rid of to try and refresh the squad and go again for next season. I've got this ordered by number of appearances this season just to keep it fresh. So let's start from the player who played the most for us this season, which was Pedro Porro. Keep or sell?
Keep.
If we're not doing it dependent on offer, keep.
Yeah, I knew you don't like Porro. That's why I said Porro. All right,
I think he's all right. I think he's a decent. He's I can get on with it. Yeah, done.
Okay, fine. All right, so second on the list is João Palhinha. Do we want him back or just let him go?
I want him back. Deserves to be come back.
Thanks, João, but let him go.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't buy him. I think there's better players to spend the money on.
You're wrong.
Anyway, next up, Mickey van der Ven.
Probably keep, but he's very lucky.
Definitely keep with De Zerbi.
100% keep. He's going to be next year's captain. Next up, England international, World Cup bound, Jed Spence.
Keep the boy.
Yeah, keep him. Yep.
Yeah, I would keep him unless he has an amazing World Cup and all of a sudden somebody wants to offer mega bucks for him. But yeah, keep him for now.
You have to pay extra for the chin strap.
Absolutely. All right, next up is Richarlison.
Sell him.
Sell.
100%. And next up, Vicario.
Bye-bye.
Sell.
Yeah. We have Rando Colomwani.
Yeah, I will drive him to Juventus.
I've actually written ban him from the stadium.
Thank you for...
No.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
No.
Dross. Awful. Right, next up, Xavi Simons.
Yeah, keep. Needs another go.
Yeah, absolutely keep. I think he's going to end up being a good player.
Yeah, me too. This will be an interesting one. Matisse Tell.
Keep. Yes.
Sell, raise funds, spend it on a better left-sided player forward.
Interesting. I do wonder, depending on how big our squad gets, whether it's worth sending him out on loan somewhere. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he develops next season. Papsar.
Sell.
Yeah, sell. I think opportunity to get a better midfield.
Wow. Okay. Well, I said keep. I think he's going to be a player, Sar. I'm disappointed he didn't play so much this season.
And that's why I think we can get rid of him.
I think it's a sell him when he's got some value.
Okay, fair enough. Kevin Danso.
Keep. Big Kev.
Yeah, keep. Give him the keys to the city. I think he's going to be the Dawson of the new generation of Spurs. He'll be turning up in introduction videos for new players in a few years.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Definitely got to keep Kevin Danso. Archie Gray.
Keep. Future captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep. Maybe send him on loan if we can actually get some decent experienced midfielders in.
Okay. Bentaker.
Potentially sell. Borderline.
I would keep him. I think he's shown enough in good form that he's very, very useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I don't think we'd get much for him anyway. So yeah, I think
it's the injuries that give me doubt. But
yeah. I think he's a good player. Lucas Burval.
Still loads of potential. Keep.
Again, a bit like Gray, keep, but might need a loan to get the minutes next season because we don't have the games.
Yeah, no, good player, definitely keep. Yeah, I kind of agree. Maybe send him on loan. Right. Amazingly, 15th most appearances, Christian Romero.
Bye-bye. Toodaloo. Off you go.
Good Christian Romero. I would very, very happy to keep, but we don't know what he's going to be like. I think he's burnt too many bridges. I think, again, he's probably the one player that can generate some real cash.
Yeah,
and
I hope he wins the World Cup. I hope he wins the World Cup and we're able to sell him for a squillion pounds. But it's pretty clear to me he doesn't want to be at the club. So, yeah, I'm pretty certain we've seen the last of him in a Spurs shirt. I hope so anyway. Wilson Odobert.
Probably sell.
Yeah, I mean, based on him being fit enough to sell, I would still keep. I think out of Tell and Odobert, I would rather keep Odobert.
Yeah, I tend to agree. There's something about him. There's flashes, aren't there? But yeah, I think he's out for most of the calendar year, I think, isn't he? So, yeah.
He's not going
realistically,
anywhere.
Nothing's much going to happen. Okay, Udogie.
Keep.
Yeah, keep. When he's good, he's really good.
Yeah. Hopefully he can play some more games next season. But yeah, definitely keep. Kudus.
Again, he won't be able to sell him because he's been on the table for so long. But I think he was our best player up until he got injured. So keep.
Yeah, keep. I think that's a no-brainer. You can't sell him after one season. That's ridiculous.
I would. If someone made an offer, I would sell him. I honestly wasn't that impressed with him. I think he's a one-trick pony. I think he had a good start. After that, he was pretty ineffective.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Tom's frank.
Well, that is true, and this is. I think that is actually an interesting point. Is that I think you could probably put that cloud above everybody and say that they could be different players in different scenarios. But
yeah, fair shout.
But yeah, I wouldn't be upset if he left. Dom Solanke.
Again, for me, this is a borderline one. The injuries, he's not consistent in scoring enough. When he plays and he's on form, he's proper clinical. One more season, keep.
Yeah, keep on the basis that we're selling Richarlison and getting another striker in.
Yeah, I would keep him, but for me, he's not a first choice striker. Like, he's not going to get you 20 goals a season. So if he's your backup, if we can get somebody in that either goes alongside him or in front of him, that would be best for me.
He's a better backup than Richarlison.
Yeah, 100%. Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, keep. I think his form really picked up towards the end of the season. And he's only just joined us. It's very unlikely we're going to get rid of him. Keep.
Yeah, if you said February, I'll give him a lift. But actually, under De Zerbi looked a completely different player, didn't he?
Yeah.
And look, real effort in that pitch. So yeah, no, keep.
Yeah, lots of energy. Looked like he had a bit of quality. All good. Yves Bissouma, as you said, has already been released. Dragusin.
Bye-bye. Goodbye. See you later.
Yeah, what's good about Dragusin is his agent obviously is always correct, and he's the best centre back in the world. So he'll be off to Real Madrid, which is where he's always wanted to play, for £150 million. So happy days all round. So bye-bye, Dragusin.
Yeah, I think he's not shown anything other than he's a pretty limited defender. So
He won't get a kick, will he? Now,
I thought so.
If Van Heck is anywhere near coming in as well, where's he going to fit in?
Yeah, exactly. Kinski.
Keep, and give him the number 1 jersey.
Yeah, I think realistically keep, and he should be given a chance.
Yeah, I think so for sure. We've also had news about Ben Davies. He has been extended for another year. Agree with that?
I don't agree with that. I think it's. I don't. Is he? Has he got? Is he got everybody into crypto or something? I don't understand it. He's a great guy, but we shouldn't be taking up a squad place.
I seriously think it goes back to what we were saying about why Romero was made captain. There is very few players in the squad that are leaders through and through.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a personality hire rather than anything else. He'll play very few games, but he's probably now at the stage of his career where he accepts that.
Yeah. Well, he made 5 apperances this season.
Yeah.
So.
And he got injured.
Yeah.
So, he's made a paper now anyway. So he might come on every now and again and play some Carabao Cup games.
Yeah. Also made 5 appearances. Seems to have been at the club for about 15 years. Dane Scarlett.
Yeah, he's not breaking into the first team anytime soon. Thank you, Dane. Off you go.
No, we've had about 16 managers when he's been at the club, and none of them have given him a chance. So for me, that is probably the clearest indication that he's never going to have a chance. So
yeah,
good luck to him in his career.
Yeah. We've got Sousa.
I only came in January. We have to give the guy a crack.
Loan him. He'll go out on loan like Tanaka and the 17 other prospects we bought last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he definitely needs a loan. And finally, Mr. J. Maddison.
Yeah, you've got to keep him for another season just because of his YouTube content.
But on the assumption he's going to be fit, give him the armband. Because if he is that much of a difference in the dressing room that you just stick him on the bench because it lifts the whole team and the whole stadium and the whole club, then absolutely keep him, make him captain.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. And then, we briefly mentioned it, but thoughts on free transfer Andy Robertson coming in, experienced defender, has been a very, very good defender. Still got a lot to offer, I think.
Yeah, I was very happy sort of when this got mentioned in January. And I think both him and Senesi as free transfers, experienced Premier League players who know the league, who play in a way that that will be absolutely familiar to them once they start working under De Zerbi. These were no-brainers. And actually, well done to the club for actually doing some business in June and getting it done. I mean, my only concern is that we seem to be going very heavily for defenders. So I really hope what that does mean is that we'll see that refresh at the back.
Defenders are the new wide forwards. We're just going to have 18 centre backs now.
Yeah,
but we've got to cover the 16 injuries we're going to have. So
that's true.
It's important to get them in. The only concern I have is that obviously Robertson was heavily linked in January under a completely different manager and a completely different way of playing.
You mentioned this.
And just hope that these are not club signings. I really hope that they've learned that you back the manager and what they want. And I think Robertson is probably a poor example of what I'm trying to be concerned about, because I think he's probably good enough that De Zerbi would want him anyway.
But for
But
me, I like the Savinho story won't go away. And I even heard mention of Gibbs White again. It just seems like, I mean, to me, Savinho, I think they're talking about 70 million for him or something. I have not seen anything from him that suggests he's got any more kind of final product or output than someone like Odobert. I don't see where 70 million, apart from the fact that he plays for Man City. I wouldn't be supporting that transfer at all.
It's sort of old links, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the reason maybe he didn't come is because we didn't put enough money on the table for his salary, and now we're upping the salaries. That's why these are happening. That's probably a negativity not needed. But what concerns me about wanting to get leaders in, and obviously Robertson's played for Klopp and won the championship with Liverpool. But Liverpool
even
were
better than
awful
that, he won the Premier League with Liverpool.
Yeah, well, yes. And the Champions League. But I think a lot of players winning stuff is down to the culture at the top of the club through the coach. It's no good having winners in the first team if the whole club doesn't want to do that. Yeah, Spurs didn't win anything because they brought in Edgar Davids. They improved, but it wasn't suddenly going to be lifting everybody, was it? Because it doesn't work like that.
It was fun, though.
Oh,
well, on the odd occasion he stayed on the pitch, yeah. No. Well, I think it's going to be. We've said before. I think it's going to be a big summer for transfers. Hopefully, I think it certainly needs to be. Let's start opening up this fabled war chest, dusting off some golden nuggets, and splashing some cash, because we certainly need it to refresh the squad. That's for sure.
Yes, and look, boys, enjoy your holidays, whatever that you take them. May you keep Spurs in your heart and the Premier League on your horizon.
That was beautiful.
I know, it's all right, wasn't it?
Right. So, thanks so much for your company over the last season. To finish off this season and this episode, 3 words to sum up what's happened in the last 12 months.
Oh, I think it's got to be glad it's over.
To be fair, I was definitely thinking down the same line. I think mine was please not again.
Yeah.
Well, I think our season has just been a tale of 3 managers, Thomas Frank, Igor Tudor and De Zerbi. And it was a divorce, then beleaguered, then survived.
Well done.
Finally.
Beautiful.
Finally. Yeah. Now, have a great break, everybody. And thank you to all of our loyal fans for coming all the way with us. And we'll be back end of July. Let's hope for a much better season next season.
Yeah, bring on next year.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. See you next season.
Come on, Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs!